Hey everyone, welcome back. I know it wasn't that long. To be honest, I kind of got lost a little bit. It's fine. It's totally cool. I just took a wrong turn somewhere. That's okay. I finally found our experts, and the first one is Alfonso Garcia, and he is going to tell us a little bit about guts and what species we can find in them. Now, Alfonso, let me put on my mask. What is a gut? Like, for people who aren't in the Virgin Islands, what is a gut? Like, what is that?
A gut is basically an area in the land where the water flows from the hillsides to the ocean.
Hillsides to the ocean. Okay.
This one we're seeing here actually crosses the road in front of Cheeseburgers.
Okay. So that's pretty long for a gut.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, because they have to go all the way to the ocean, right? So.
Yeah. Well, in this case, it goes to the pond, the salt pond.
Oh, right. The salt pond's over in that direction.
And you can see the mangroves and stuff over there.
Okay, cool. So, let me ask you this. How did you get into guts? Like, how did you get into, like, walking around in this? I mean, this is muck right here. Like, what interested you to get into this muck?
Well, the local fish and crustacean species.
A fish and crustacean species?
Yeah, we have some native shrimps. There's like 4 or 5 species, and then there's also your local native freshwater fish.
Oh, so they all live in this environment.
Yes.
When it's full of water, you mean?
Yeah. Well, this one here is a little bit different than something you would probably see on the western side of the island.
Okay.
Where it gets more water. This one is more. I mean, it's more runoff than anything.
Okay.
For the western side of the island, you have more flowing streams, especially in the rainy season.
Right.
But we are on the eastern side of the island, so it's a little drier.
Okay.
But we still have some water. Probably some leftover from the heavy rains we had a couple weeks ago.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, in the west side, you would probably see more of your gobies, the local gobies. You'll see your mountain mullets. You'll see your macrobrachiums, your shrimps.
Okay. So what's your favorite gut species, like animal? Like what's...
I mean, the macro we have in the office is pretty cool.
Okay, put it in layman's terms, what is that?
We just call them shrimps.
Okay.
It's like a prong. It's one of the bigger species that you can find here. I wish I had a actual one that you could see.
Okay.
But they get really big.
Okay, I'm trying to like think of something that it would remind me of, like kind of like a crawfish, or
like a crawfish. Just the claws are really they're more narrow, more stunted. They're not as wide, and they're also longer.
Okay.
They're almost half of the length of the body.
Oh.
They're really long.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Okay.
They get really big.
So I have a question here. Katie was asking, what are we looking for in the gut today? Which, why don't you go explain what happened?
Well, we were just looking to see if there were any fish species. I thought we would see some tadpoles. But it doesn't really seem to have, much life other than some algae growing up in there. I see some burrows on the side. Could be from some crabs.
Okay.
Hard to say if they're not out, so
yeah,
it's hard to say what species they are, but yeah, it doesn't seem to have any
nothing really going on, huh?
No, not fish-wise. I'm pretty sure that there's some larvae stages of insects and stuff up in there, but
okay.
We didn't get to go too far in, but I'm pretty sure there's maybe some dragonfly larvae and stuff up in there.
Dragonfly larvae.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure Sean would love that.
Oh, I'm sure he would. Oh my gosh, let me ask. Okay, So, oh, right. Have you ever participated in a Bioblitz before?
No, this is the first one.
First one.
Yeah.
There's so many firsts today. A lot of people had a lot of firsts. Like, this is our first one. And it's really exciting. Like, I'm excited. So what else, if you're not working in the guts today, like, what else are we going to be, where are we going?
Well, I've actually been assisting Sean, collecting some bugs.
Okay.
And some spiders.
Sweet.
So I know we're going to be doing some more of that. And then there's something about bats later.
Yeah, there's bats. Yeah, they're setting up the nets right now. So,
So
hopefully later we'll get to see a little bit of the bat.
Interesting.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Kitty's asking, if you dig in the mud, would you find anything?
If we dig in the mud near the entrances for the crabs, we probably would find them.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like, do they not burrow like that far down?
No.
Oh, they're just kind of sort of at the surface?
I mean, most of the little tunnels are small. So, I mean, I would assume they're probably maybe fiddlers or maybe, probably baby black land crabs. But I don't feel the need to disturb them.
Okay.
I don't want to.
That's fair. Okay, cool. This is the gut, guys, in case you hadn't seen it. It runs underneath our feet.
And this is actually the wettest part.
This is the wettest part. The rest of it's dry?
It's dry, yeah.
Bone dry.
Up, it's dry as you get closer to the road. But we're kind of like almost near a pond. So this is the wettest.
Kitty was just like, so can we dig in the mud?
No, Kitty, we're not going to dig in the mud. We're not going to make pies. No.
So if someone was interested in like kind of like rooting around and going to be like a citizen scientist like in a gut, what is some advice for them to stay safe but also, appreciate the wildlife? Like what would you tell someone?
Well, it depends which gut you're going to. If you're going to, let's say, like Caledonia.
Okay.
That's all the way dead west.
Okay.
On the western side of the island, it's very isolated, so you probably don't want to be going by yourself.
Okay.
Probably always go with someone else, at least one other person, just in case. Let someone know where you're going. Other than that,
yeah.
I guess kind of know what you're allergic to.
Oh my gosh.
You have plants that can sting you and irritate your skin.
Right.
There are insects that can sting you. So if you're allergic, you probably don't want to be going through and get stung by a Jack Spaniard.
Oh yeah, those are nasty. Those are some gnarly guys. I don't like them. I have a question. So we are on a wooden bridge or whatnot, but a lot of the times as I'm driving around the island, I see a lot of concrete, super dips where I'm assuming the water is running. Are those helping the gut? Is that a gut right there?
I can only speak for St. Croix.
St. Croix, yeah.
Most of them, yes, that would be where a gut would have been.
Oh.
It's just we decided to build a road.
Right.
So that's the drainage.
Okay.
Some are more obvious than others. But that would be a gut.
Okay. That would be a gut.
They're all different. Some are hilly and steep. Some are like this. Some are more really flat and open that you can, unless you know that's where the water drains, you wouldn't be able to tell. Some are really rocky, like on the western side of the island. They can be really rocky and very tough terrain to climb through, but they're all different. Okay,
cool. Well, that's awesome. Besides the prawn, what is your favorite animal on the island?
Ooh, on island.
On island.
Ooh. So it doesn't have to be from the gut.
No, it doesn't have to be from the gut. I'm just gonna ask you straight up, what's your favorite animal?
I would have to say the little geckos.
Oh, geckos, like the ones that we saw today with Nicole. They were like tree foliage geckos or something.
Yeah, the tiny little ones.
Oh my gosh, they are super cute.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw one. I think the people on the live stream, they were able to see it. I was like following it.
They're all over.
Oh my gosh.
There's actually what, 2 species here?
Yeah. Good choice. Good choice.
Yeah, they're cute. They're small, but they're cute.
Did I hear you say that you guys have some specimens that you found with Sean?
Yes, he has some stuff to show you guys.
Do we want to like start walking over that way?
Let's go towards him and see where he's at.
Okay. So guys, we are going back into the bush. Well, I wouldn't really call it a bush. There's a little bit of it's a bit of a trail, you know. So we're heading over to find Sean, the spider expert. Alfonso and Sean both have found some species of insects that they have in like a little shadow box thing. So we're going to be able to check out some awesome insects that are local here on the island. And we just got to get through a little bit of brush. Oh, we found them. Here we go. Looks like he found something. What's going on over there? Oh my gosh.
Oh, really?
Oh. Here's Sean attempting to catch. What is it? Oh my gosh, it's a spider. Oh no. Oh, hello. What is, oh wait, what's it doing? What's it got there?
So when we collect insects and spiders, we use ethanol so that it humanely quickly knocks them out. And then they're also ready to be preserved if you use ethanol. And then ethanol is also when you can use them for genetic research. So we always preserve them in ethanol. This is 95% ethanol. And then you can also throw that in the freezer. And that way samples, you're not just basically wasting the insect. That when you collect them, you can then have them databased, cataloged. And you know, there's insect collections from Darwin. So as long as you preserve them correctly and maintain them, then the insect collections can last forever, basically.
Wow.
So these are a couple more interesting spiders we caught. We've been doing insects and spiders. We basically just sweep netting. So what we're doing is just using a little butterfly net. And we're just going through like about a minute or so. We're just going through the different vegetation, through the grasses, through this.
What?
And you can see what you get. So as you see, if you look down in there.
Oh, okay.
You can see lots of little spiders, some flies, maybe a little cricket or grasshopper in there. So then we would collect all those, and then later I can use a microscope to be able to identify them better.
Oh, okay.
But a lot of times right away we can at least say what order of insect they are. So if they're a beetle order or a dragonfly order or a ant order, so those are all different orders of insects, and quickly we can identify that. But to go more deeper and to see what kind of genus they are or what kind of species they are, usually you almost always need a microscope. This is a cool one. This is called a Longhorn Beetle.
Ooh. Oh, look at them, guys.
So these are pretty common on St. Croix.
Wow.
They're easy to tell because they call them longhorns, of course, for their really long antenna.
He's beautiful.
There's really big ones called, there's an invasive one for mangoes that's here, a mango stem borer, and they get really big. So this is a good size longhorn beetle, but they can get much bigger than that. They can be about 10 times bigger than that.
What? 10 times?
So these are beetles, which obviously we'll see everywhere. And beetles are the most diverse order of insects, and they're called Coleopterins. So Coleoptera is one of the largest orders of insects, and this is just one of them that we see a lot here in St. Croix. And so sometimes you need a microscope to identify them, but if you work with them long enough, especially with spiders are so specific about how they build their webs that by just looking at a web, you can see what genus it is, and sometimes even what species it is.
Ooh.
So if we look over here, just in basically any bush that you'll find in the bush here in St. Croix,
I see
you can
one.
find a few different types of spiders. So this is probably one of the most common ones you'll see in the bush. They really like open areas, and they really like kind of grasses. And this one is called Argyopi Argentata. That is that species. And you can see she's even got a little food there. So she'll catch her food, she'll bring it to the center of her web, she wraps it up, and that way she can just sit there and feed on it.
What's the common name of that?
So the common name of this, I believe, would be a silver orb weaver.
Oh.
I'm not great with common names, and sometimes, unfortunately, like spiders don't really get common names because there's just not enough attention to them.
Okay.
But I believe that one is called a silver garden orb weaver or something like that.
It looked like an orb weaver
Yep.
to me, so I was just wondering.
Yeah, so common names are good because people can relate with them. Unfortunately, common names aren't great when you start traveling because every country and every region could have a different common name. So
Okay.
common names get a little sticky.
That's fair.
But here I believe a lot of times they're called silver orb weavers.
Cool.
But this one you can see has a little food, and they put cool little designs in their webs. So that little X that she has in there, that's a special little design that she puts in there. It's called a Stabilimentum. And so some spiders build these special little additional pieces of silk in their webs, and we can tell just by that design. Even if she wasn't in the web, I could tell you what species it is just by looking at the web.
Wow, that
Because
is
she's
super
the only
cool.
one that does that kind of design in it. And we have another type of spider over here that puts another design in her web.
Where are you? Oh,
This little guy, and I have a bigger one behind us, but this little guy, they're called trash line orb weavers. So she's hiding in the middle of all that little debris.
I definitely cannot see a single. I can't even see it.
It doesn't pick up on the camera.
No, I just can't see it in my
okay.
like.
So here, see how she's moving now?
Oh, there it is.
So she was hiding in the middle of it. So she just collects little debris, flowers, pollen, whatever, and she pulls it into the middle of her web. She makes a little trash line, and then she can hide out in the middle of it, and that's one's for camouflage.
Nice.
And then there's even another kind of spider over here, and this is another type of orb weaver. This is a Metapira genus, and we won't see her, but she's hiding inside this little hideout there. There she goes.
Oh, yep, there it is.
So
Sorry,
a lot of
Facebook
spiders
Live.
use stuff in their webs for different purposes.
Right
A
there.
lot of times it's for camouflage or to hide out from predators. Like predators would probably be birds and wasps. Wasps are the biggest enemy of spiders. Wasps are the most of spiders. But like the little Argyopi, we can see they're everywhere. Here's another one here.
Oh, yeah.
So she didn't do a great job. She only made half the X. Usually they do both sides.
There it is.
And if you look at when they're babies, when they're little tiny ones like this. So when they're babies, they just do a little circle in the middle. They don't do an X design.
Oh.
But if you went through these grasses, you'd find them every foot or so.
Oh, wow.
Our Argyopes are just everywhere. So those are all orb weaving spiders. They're all one big family called Araniidae.
Okay.
So those are probably the ones we most see. But of course, we also see lots of them just crawling around our houses, which is great. They're great for eating cockroaches and other critters that we don't want in our house. And most spiders, almost all spiders are venomous. So they all use venom to kill their prey. But almost all of them, their venom only works on insects. So their venom is made to attack insect proteins and attack insect hemolymph, which is what like an insect blood would be. So that's why most of them have no impact on us whatsoever. So even if you were to get bit by one, it's far less painful than like a Jack Spaniard, or definitely more than like a centipede bite.
Oh my gosh.
So the spiders, most of them, even these guys, I could pick them up because their mandibles are so small, they're little pinchers, that they can't break your skin. So you'll see them trying to bite you, but they don't even have the strength to do that because they're used to just eating soft little insects.
Gotcha.
So even if you have them on your hand, most of them are harmless because they can't even bite you. And if they did possibly bite you, their venom doesn't work on us. It's only for insects.
Well, that's good to know, and I feel better about that. Really, I had a little bit of arachnophobia before, but I'm good now. We're good.
Spiders are our
I'm cool. I'm cool with them.
Spiders are our friends that eat the bugs.
Did you say there was a big one around here?
No, so those were the different Argyopi ones. So we had a little baby one. We had another little trash line orb weaver. Yeah.
Oh,
You can walk over there.
off we go.
Yeah, there's like 2 of them right there.
Ooh, hello.
Yeah, so sometimes they don't even put one design in their webs. And this is the same species right here. So they're all the same species.
Wow, look at it. It's
There's another
beautiful.
one.
All right, come on, phone. Let's try and... Well, you guys, I can't really focus on it, but it's beautiful. You can see colors. That's cool. Yep.
Sometimes it's hard because you need a background.
Ah, there we go. Look at it.
And another cool thing here, if you
Wow.
look, so that's the main spider. She built the web, but then we have these other little guys. This one, and this one. This is a male spider, so males are always much, much smaller.
Oh.
So the male spider is waiting for the female. It's dangerous, so he hides out on the edges because, of course, if she's hungry enough, she'll eat him.
Oh, no.
So he hides out on the edges, and then you have these little spiders. These are called Parasitic spiders. So klepto as in they steal. So there's spiders that live in the webs of other spiders.
So they can steal their food?
So they steal their food.
Oh.
So those are a whole other different type of spider that just take advantage of spiders who have large webs. Like there's 1, 2, 3, 4.
Oh my goodness.
So there's 4 little parasite spiders, or 5. So they're called Dewdrop Spiders, or their genus is Argyopi.
Okay.
They're famous little Kleptoparasitic spiders. They're little
Kleptoparasitic
spiders. That steal the food from the other big spiders.
That cracks me up, actually. Huh? Oh. What we got?
Yeah, very cool.
Okay.
All right, so once again, here's another kind of spider.
Hold on, sorry guys, I got, yeah, there we go.
Do it backwards so you can see it.
Ah, there we go. Nice. There it is. Tiny little guy, guys.
So these are called spiny-backed orb weavers, or their genus is Gastrocantha. So these are little Gastrocantha spiders. And they come in yellows, whites, reds even. So the coloring can change, but it's actually all the same species.
Oh, look at him move. Oh, there it goes.
And you'll see she actually puts little dots along the web.
Oh
So
my
not
gosh.
like the other species that puts a big X, but she has little dashes all along the edges of her web.
Wow.
And they all do that.
That is really cool.
And that's just another genus of orb weavers. So the same family as the other guys,
Okay.
different genus.
Wow. Oh my gosh. Sean, you know so much about spiders. How'd you get into spiders? What is it even called? Like, what is that science called?
So arachnology would be for the study of all arachnids. So spiders are one of the arachnids. The other arachnids would be things like scorpions, or there's even actually an aquatic marine spider. And so then you also have little solifugids, like camel spiders. So those are the whole group of arachnids. And then spiders, we really actually don't have a name for just people who study spiders. We would just say arachnologists.
Okay.
So there's entomology, which is for all insects and most
Right.
arthropods. And then there's groups for just spiders, be arachnology. So when I was an undergraduate student, I was looking for a job on campus because I didn't want to work in the bookstore anymore. And I knew I had to get experience doing research and working in a lab. And my professor just happened to be someone who studied spiders, and he had money to hire undergraduate students. So I walked into his lab and he started talking about how spiders, don't get a lot of attention. Insects don't get a lot of attention. Everybody wants to go study like primates or dolphins or like big cats. But if you think about spiders are so much cooler than all of those things because they make silk. So
That's true.
An animal that can make silk, spider silk is the strongest biomaterial ever known. So it's stronger. It's because it's a combination of how stretchy it is and how strong it is. So if steel can be very, very strong, but it's not stretchy. So you want something that can be both stretchy and strong at the same time. And the different proteins that come in together with spider silk give it that ability. And some spiders, like these little orb weaving spiders, they can create about 5 to 6 different types of silk. So they'll use some silk just for egg laying, some silk for part of their web. So the outside of the web will be made of one silk. Then of course they need sticky silk in the middle, and they put glue on it. So they have all these different types of biochemistry going on in their abdomen to be able to create these silk. And that kind of makes them so much cooler than almost all the animals I can ever think of, because they can actually create the strongest known biomaterial in the world.
You know what? Now that you say it, that is pretty freaking cool.
So that was my first job as an undergraduate student. We actually took samples of silk and we would measure web movements and how it absorbs energy, and then you could pull the silk over little distances and be able to measure how strong and stretchy the silks are of different types of spiders, and we make different types of webs. So that's where I got really into orb weaving and web spinning spiders. And really, if you ask me stuff about tarantulas or ground spiders, I really don't know that much. It's just the basics. But I've always worked with web spinning spiders. So there's a few different families of spiders that make all different types of webs, and that's what I worked as an undergraduate. And then, so that was about 11 years ago. So you study spiders for 11 years and you gain a whole lot of useful, sometimes useless information. But then you get to hang out with big conferences and arachnologists all over the world. So I've been fortunate enough to travel a lot and work in different parts of the world, in Taiwan and Central America. And a lot of different projects with spiders here in the Caribbean, of course. So just being able to see how diverse they are everywhere. And then especially here in the Caribbean, we actually have a lot of species that can only be found in certain islands. So we have a lot of endemic species here too, which is really cool. So that's how I got started with spiders. Basically, I just needed money, and I went to the lab, and then I just fell in love with it.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay, so since you fell in love with it, like, what's your favorite spider here on the island?
Ooh, favorite spider here on the island? I would say some of the ones we just saw. Like, I love these little Gastrocantha spiders.
Yeah.
I think they're so pretty. There's little, like I said, there's yellow ones, there's red ones, there's white ones. They're kind of common, but since they're small, it's kind of hard to see sometimes.
Well, that's not going to work for me. Just for those just now tuning in, this is one of the spiders. This is one of Sean's favorite spiders right here. Oh, look at it. Oh.
And you can see, like, they're so small, I could pick that up. I wouldn't want to pick her up right now just because I don't want to hurt her.
Yeah.
Scare her. But you could pick her up. She can't even bite you. So their teeth are not strong enough to pierce our skin. Like I said before, they only eat soft little insects. So you don't have to be worried about if a spider happens to fall on you or not. You know, usually what I would do, I'd just take my arm and I'd brush it on some vegetation and then they'll hop right off.
Okay.
So most of the time the spiders are hiding from us. They don't want to bother us. All they want to do is catch some bugs and have a nice day. So for the most part, I'd say spiders are our friends. There's only a couple species here that could be possibly dangerous for us, but they're very, very rare, and then there's very, very rare incidences of people actually getting bit by spiders.
Oh, I mean, how many species are like that? Like, is it just a couple? Can you name them, or?
I wouldn't want to guess because I haven't seen them. And there's actually not a lot of great studies for spiders here in St. Croix.
Okay.
So I wouldn't know right off the bat to say that I know they're here or not. So there are brown recluses. I've seen those.
Oh, here on the island?
No, not here on the island. I've seen them in Puerto Rico.
Right,
so the brown recluses in Puerto Rico. There's also brown widows here. So I have seen brown widows here. And they have the red hourglass shape just like a black widow. But they're different species. And the brown widow isn't nearly as venomous as the black widow.
I'll have to tell you guys, I saw one of those and I about freaked out. But don't worry, Sean was on the case. He told me not to worry, and I brought it to him.
Yeah, so the brown widows, they do have that very red hourglass, which does make people usually stop and think. But those are brown widows, and they're pretty common here, and they're not nearly as harmful.
Fantastic. I mean, they still pack a punch in their bite.
I would not be tickling its mouth with my fingers, but they usually are pretty much harmless. They'll stay out of your way. They're not usually ones we see a lot in the open parts of our houses, usually in back of the barns or in dark little corners. That's where they like to go.
Okay. I have a question here from Kitty. What do you think is the biggest misconception about spiders?
Biggest misconceptions about spiders is that people get spider bites. Spider bites is one of the most everybody gets like a little red mark on their body, like, oh my goodness, I got a spider bite. And everybody's like, I can see the holes, I can see the holes. So spider bites are very, very rare, and especially a spider bite that could harm you. So like I said before, almost all spiders are venomous. Not all of them. Some of them don't use venom. They just use their silk. But almost all spiders do use a venom. It's just that venom isn't for us. It doesn't hurt vertebrates. So only some bigger spiders, like black widows and stuff, that actually catch lizards and snakes and vertebrates, maybe small rodents. So tarantulas, some of them have very powerful venom that can be dangerous for us. And the only reason is because they hunt vertebrates. So their venom is used to be able to go against vertebrate proteins and blood.
Gotcha.
So those can be somewhat harmful for us. Usually they're not, life-threatening whatsoever, but it could be a bad bite and a bad sting. But that would be the biggest misconception, that they are all venomous, but the venom doesn't work on us. It's only made for insects.
Now, he's talking about the spiders in the Virgin Islands, okay? If you're in the U.S. or in other areas, please do not mistake that. We're talking about the spiders here in the Virgin Islands, the U.S. Virgin Islands.
That's true for almost all spiders. All spiders, there's only a very, very, very small percentage of spiders that could actually be harmful to us.
There we go. See, he had to clarify. Just making sure.
Almost all spiders have venom, but the venom's only for insects.
Okay. So is this your first Bioblitz as well, Sean?
Yeah, so this is our first Bioblitz. So I started with DFW last July. So this is part of work that we're doing looking at ground arthropods and insects in general. because this is a place that we think could be very important for other species, and because insects and small terrestrial arthropods, they're the base of the food web for a lot of animals. So having a better idea of what kind of the base of the food web is, then we can have a better idea how is this habitat for other animals that are higher up in the food web. So having a good idea of what insects and terrestrial arthropods are around is really important for all habitat assessments. So, but yeah, this is our first time doing it here for Southgate.
Ah, so cool. Everybody on the stream, if you have a question, please do not hesitate to put it in the comments. Okay, because I will be asking Sean your questions. And also if you have questions for Alfonso, he's over there. So what advice do you have for someone who would want to get into, the study of spiders?
All right. So anybody who wants to do any type of insect study, I highly recommend insect studies. So they're easy to find. So, a lot of people like kind of very charismatic whales or tigers or things like that. And you could go with your life as a researcher and you might not even get to see one. They're very, very hard to find, and it takes a lot of money to be able to do that type of research. You need vessels, you need equipment, you have to travel a lot. Insects are in your backyard and it's very easy, and you can get them with about a $5 butterfly net.
Oh.
You could do an entire research study basically with this.
Wow.
So I would highly suggest doing work with insects. I would definitely say, try to look at your local universities, see if anybody's doing insect research. We're always looking for volunteers, especially here at DFW. So if you are someone, with the UVI system, we're always looking for help. Like I said, I kind of just got into it accidentally, but then I fell in love with it. So, as a kid, I always spent a lot of time outside, maybe catching bugs and things, but I just never really thought of that as like an actual research theme or career. But, and I think that happens to a lot of people. Every biologist kind of asks, like, oh, how did you get with it? A lot of times you kind of just fall into it.
This is true.
So it just happened to be a professor who had money, and I just really fell in love with doing that work. So there's lots of insect studies everywhere. If you look at, there's really wild ones about, the killer bees or maybe the killer hornets that are moving up in the Northwest. So insects are getting a little bit more media attention, but it's important that we actually get accurate media attention. So sometimes people like to over exaggerate things, such as like spider bites. So luckily they are getting more social media attention in mostly good ways, but sometimes those over exaggerated bug stories kind of get in there too. There's definitely lots of things, and if you would really love to know about insects, I'd recommend David Attenborough's BBC documentary. It's called Life in the Undergrowth.
Yes,
So
cool.
Life in the Undergrowth talks all about terrestrial arthropods, insects, spiders, millipedes, everything. And that's a great place for information also.
Okay, perfect. Kitty's asking, what is your favorite insect? Because spiders are arachnids, not insects. Okay.
Yeah, so major difference. Spiders have 8 legs, and insects have 6.
Oh.
So that's a really quick, easy one. Unless a spider lost one of its legs. But usually, if it's got 6 legs, it's an insect. Also, insects have 3 body sections. So they have a head, they have a thorax, and they have an abdomen. Spiders just have 2. It's just their head, and then their abdomen/thorax. They actually call it a cephalothorax. So their head and thorax have actually fused. And so they just have 2 segments. They have the abdomen, which is where all their silk and their stomach and everything is. And then the front part of them is where their brain is.
Yeah. Okay, so what would be your favorite
So
insect?
my favorite kind of insect would be dragonflies.
Dragonflies!
So I think dragonflies are super cool. They're the most voracious hunters.
They're really
successful hunting about 90% of the time. So they are in nature, as far as I know, they are the most successful hunter. If you think about wolves are only successful about 10% of the time they hunt.
What?
Dragonflies, if they hone in on an insect flying by, they will catch it 90% of the time.
Oh my
That's
gosh.
because of how powerful flyers they are, because all their wings can move independently. So they have each muscle pack on each wing, so every single wing of the 4 wings can move independently, so they can hover backwards, up, down, left, right, turn fast, and they can outfly basically anything else. So they're great. And a lot of them, what they really love are mosquitoes.
Yes, thank goodness.
So
oh my gosh.
Dragonflies and damselflies, they're both in the same order of Ornithids. And so dragonflies and damselflies, they spend most of their life as aquatics. They spend sometimes up to 3 years as just an aquatic insect larva in the water, which they also are very, very good hunters. So even as little larvae, they're hunting other little aquatic insects. And then after that, they'll climb up, they'll emerge, they'll pop out their wings, and then they'll fly off and they'll spend a few years as an adult too.
Oh my
If I didn't
gosh.
study spiders, I would study dragonflies.
Perfect. All I have to say is that, like, with both bats and dragonflies, how do we even still have mosquitoes? Like, please kill them all.
Unfortunately, mosquitoes, as much of a pain they are, they're a very important part of the food web.
Yes.
We need something to be eaten.
We do.
And unfortunately, it's mosquitoes. Unfortunately, mosquitoes
like to eat us.
So mosquitoes are maybe not my favorite insect, maybe my least favorite insect.
I think that goes for a lot of people.
You know what, guys? It's actually the female mosquitoes that bite us. It's only the females. So you know, the little nasty female mosquitoes, they need the extra blood to be able to hatch their eggs.
Gross.
So only girl mosquitoes bite.
Ew. 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 I have another question. What can Virgin Islanders do to protect insects? Are there any insects that we need to be protecting?
Yeah, so that's a great question. I mean, if you look at, so there's a lot of conservation programs for reptiles, especially here in the Virgin Islands. There's a lot of great endemic reptiles that only live on certain islands, and there's very, strong protections for a lot of animals here. Insects, like I said, usually don't get a lot of attention. So there's actually very, very, very few insects that are federally protected or locally protected.
Mm-hmm.
So one thing we need to do is get more information. So that's things like this Bioblitz. We can actually see. We actually just collected something here that I had never really seen before.
Oh.
And so I've been in Puerto Rico and here for the last 10 years. So over 10 years in Puerto Rico and area, I have never seen one before. So I think there's still very much new things to find. There's a lot of information to gather. And then there are small programs. So there is like a butterfly in Puerto Rico that's now being possibly listed for conservation to be protected. So, but that's only after years of research to be able to show that there is a population decline in those. So if you really want to help them, I would say plant native species.
Plant native species.
We all know that native plants and native animals are going to go great together.
Yes.
So, unfortunately here at Southgate, they're doing a bunch of native planting, which is great because they're going to try to get rid of some of this unfortunate grass everywhere. So if you have a lot of invasive grasses and invasive species, that's usually not a great habitat for bugs, insects. So everything, especially with flowers you want, it's great for the pollinators. And I would just say one of the best things you can do is plant native vegetation for sure.
Cool. What is that you just said that you caught something that you hadn't seen yet? What is that? Is it a spider? Is it an insect? Is it tiny?
Yeah, so we caught a spider I had never seen before.
Oh.
I think it's pretty closely related to the Argyopi ones we saw that has the X in their webs, the Argyopi Argentata. But it's got a red body, and I've never seen one.
Is that that's not the one we saw earlier?
That's the one you saw me catching as you walked.
Oh, sweet. Okay.
So that's something new. We don't know if it's new for the island, but of course we're going to be using iNaturalist, so we're going to be creating a database for all these insects.
Cool.
Like I said, a lot of it to kind of get, as far as their scientific names, to be able to identify them correctly, we do need a microscope. Because you have to be able to look at very, very small little body parts to be able to tell the different species apart. So we'll be able to put up that list eventually. But so far we've caught at least 4 or 5 different families of spiders.
Ooh.
We've caught a bunch of different beetles and then moths and butterflies and all types of stuff. So
cool.
We're creating a nice little list here, and it's going to be great to build on.
Yes. Oh, that's awesome. Well, are there any parting words you'd like to share with the people that are watching us today? Any specific thing that you really want people to know? Like, you have to know this.
I would say like a really cool just fact about spiders, I would just say for spiders, is the silk fact.
Yes.
That maybe not everybody appreciates just how awesome that silk is.
I mean, I think that's pretty amazing.
So it's the strongest known biomaterial, stronger and better than Kevlar, stronger and better than steel. Of course, so you got to put steel on the same line and size as a piece of spider silk.
Oh my
It
gosh.
is the strongest known material, and it's made by spiders. We've been trying to replicate it. There's actually a lot of cool experiments. I've been trying to genetically alter even like goats to make the proteins in their milk. There's programs using alfalfa plants to take the proteins out to make spider silk or replicate spider silk. So that's something that's being tried to be done, but we still as humans can't figure out how the spiders do it so well. So in their bodies, it's liquid, and as soon as it hits the air and they pull it out, it becomes a solid. So in order to go from a liquid dope, they call it, in their abdomen, where they're creating it in their little silk glands. As they pull it out, it's a mixture of obviously like tension and friction, and there's a little bit of chemical change, and it becomes from a liquid. And as soon as it comes out, it's the strongest known biomaterial ever.
That is
we
really
don't know
cool.
how to do that.
No.
Only the spiders do so far. So we're trying.
Yeah.
They've been trying for a long time, and we can make little bits of it, but nothing like silkworms or anything like that. So that's kind of future hope. But I would say the coolest thing to know is the silk of spiders, and also that spiders are good. Spiders eat bugs. If you don't like bugs in your house, be nice to the spiders. If you don't want them in your house, that's fine. You can just nicely catch them and put them outside.
Oh yeah, see?
Be nice to our spiders.
Yay, be nice to the spiders. Okay, everyone. Well, all I have to say is that the silk from the spiders is definitely super cool. I mean, I just can't even imagine. And, you know, sometimes that it just might be a secret of Mother Nature, and we may never know how to replicate what a spider does. And that's okay, you know? What? Oh, you're pointing at something. What's over there?
If you want to do one more thing, this is actually a spider building a web.
Oh.
As it gets dusk, we're going to be looking for some more spiders as it gets dark.
I
Because a
see
lot of
it.
spiders only come out at dark. So she's going to go through the special little behaviors. She has silk going from this plant to that plant down to the ground. And she's just going back and forth.
There she
reinforcing
is.
it, and she's just going to be building her web. And
She's
it can
building
take
it.
a spider anywhere from about half hour to 45 minutes to an hour to actually build the whole web.
Oh, look, there she goes. There it is. Go, spider, go. You got it. Work it.
So she's just traveling along her little line of silk, finding a good place to build her web.
That is
So she's
awesome.
went over there, and now she's going to come back, and she's just building up those little frame thread lines. Mm-hmm. Back and forth.
And then she'll do the frame.
And then she'll do the outside frame, and then she'll come in and then start doing the sticky spirals.
Perfect. Awesome. Well, we are getting ready to hop off here because I'm going to go check in with the bat people with Renata as they're getting ready to, I think they've already put up their nets. So it's starting to get dusk here. But just remember that native plants are super important for all types of insects, bugs, other animals, you know. So walk away knowing that if we have native plants, we'll have some really great biodiversity. And biodiversity is always really good. Remember that. Biodiversity is great. Okay, y'all. I will be back with y'all in about, 15, 20, maybe even 30 minutes. I'm going to go see what's going on with the bat nets. And soon we will be putting on our headlamps. Okay, our headlamps. And I have a handy dandy flashlight because soon we're going to be trying to figure out what's going on with the bats again. All right. Well, see you guys soon.